Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you're having a good weekend thus far. We have a lot of news to go over, but the first one that we're going to talk about is that the end is near. Believe me when I tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional economics guy. I just have common sense. And I can read, I can see, and I can hear. And the end for this financial system is here. So we're going to talk about that first, and then I have a whole bunch of other news to cover with you. According to Von Greyers, ladies and gentlemen, this financial system, meaning this fiat currency financial system, has reached the end. And I have to agree. We are at the end of this financial system, and those people that do not protect themselves and or protect their wealth going forward will lose everything that they've worked for, that they now hold in paper. Meaning that if you have a pension that's invested in 401k or such, that paper, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be worthless just as much as the dollars that it's denominated in is. Why? Because we're almost at the end, if not at the end of this fiat currency system. I could go on and on and on, ladies and gentlemen, about this fiat currency system and why it is that it was made. It was made for one reason alone. It was made in order to strip you of your wealth through the silent tax of inflation. And he says the world is now witnessing the end of a currency and financial system which the Chinese already forecasted in 1971 after Nixon took us off the gold standard that would happen. And I remember mentioning that here a few videos back maybe, that the Chinese in 1971 said, after Nixon took us off the gold standard, August 15th of 1971, they said that that was the beginning of the end. And there is no means, says Mises, in avoiding the final collapse of a boom brought about by credit expansion. And that is so true. Why is that? Because whenever you have credit expansion that's on the cheap, meaning that people and businesses can borrow very cheaply, they seem to abuse that system. The more that you can get for free, the more that people are going to take. The more that something costs, the less that people are going to take. For example, 0% interest rates to buy brand new vehicles. Do you think that's going to do good for the car manufacturers or do bad for them? It's going to do great. They would love it. Why? Because people would take advantage of that free money, 0 interest rate. But put the interest rates at 10, 15%. Do you think more or less people would borrow money to buy a car at 10 or 15%? No, ladies and gentlemen, a lot less do. And here they say that the suspension of the convertibility of the dollar in 1971 is still in effect 52 years later, pretty much meaning that we're still off the gold standard. As the dollar has declined by almost 99%, ladies and gentlemen, the dollar has declined almost 99% since 1971 alone. The strength of the economy is also declining fast, although using fiat money as the measure hides the truth. And that is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. You know where the truth is being hidden? In the Fed's balance sheet. You know where the truth is being hidden? In low interest rates. When the Fed brings the interest rates down so that the U.S. doesn't have to pay high interest rates in order to borrow money. The truth is being hidden in all of the unfunded liabilities that we have. The truth is being hidden in the fact that we can never, ever pay back the $34 trillion that we have in national debt. And now to the last lie, your dollar will be worth as much tomorrow. I think we've all learned that that is a lie here in the past 3 or 4 years. Ladies and gentlemen, inflation is one thing and one thing only, and that is the theft of your labor. That's what inflation is. When you earn a dollar today, and in 5 years, or in 10 years, or in 20 years, that dollar can only buy you 1/10 of what it could buy you today, then it means that the purchasing power that you had in that dollar, the time that you put into earning that dollar has been stolen from you. It is straight out theft of your freedom. And just in case you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, there's no rhyme or reason to how I have these articles positioned. I just throw them together with the exception of the very first one, which is usually the one that I title this video after. They're just all put together. So it may seem like I'm all over the place, which is because I'm all over the place. Cubans prepare for 500% fuel hike amid economic crisis. That's what we have to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen, is these drastic events that happen in the economy because our financial system is almost done. The financial system of a country, ladies and gentlemen, is what allows it to afford the standard of living that its average citizen has. So with a financial system that is not trusted around the world, that does not want to be traded with, that has a much lower value than it did before, these are the things that we can expect. The government of Cuba has announced a 500% increase in fuel prices beginning on 1 February as the nation suffers its worst economic crisis since the 1990s, with Cubans now readying themselves to weather what is being called a humanitarian crisis. And that it will be. Why is that? Because we need energy in order to produce. And in order to get stuff that we need, we have to produce. So without that energy, how are we going to produce in order to exchange value for value? I won't spend too much time on this one, but it says that progress is slow. Wall Street reacts to today's hotter than expected inflation print. I've been saying this for years, and I still say it. Inflation has only one way to go, and that's up, ladies and gentlemen. Inflation will continue to go up. At what rate? That's the question. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, but inflation will continue to go up forever as long as we are in a fiat currency system. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so don't be fooled in thinking that inflation is over. No, it's not. It will never, ever be over as long as we are in the financial system that we are currently in. They have no choice. I can't believe they've waited this long. In its latest assertion of sovereignty and responsibility for securing its borders with Mexico, the once and future Republic of Texas has seized control of 47 acres in the city of Eagle Pass. What's more, the Texans are barring U.S. patrol agents and watercraft from the property. So they're even barring federal agents from their state as far as that area goes. Incredible, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that one of the major things that the federal government is responsible for is protecting our borders, and they can't even do that. Well, good for Texas for taking charge and doing it themselves. And many may think, ladies and gentlemen, how is it that we're taking care of all of these people that are coming in through our porous borders when we don't have any money for ourselves? Well, it's because we're borrowing that money. We are borrowing that money as a country against the future of yourselves and your children's and their children in order to take care of people that really don't belong here because they never entered this country lawfully. U.S. budget deficit soars by 50% in December as fiscal collapse under Biden accelerates. Remember when we showed that the stealth secret sauce behind Bidenomics was nothing more than a massive multi-trillion debt-fueled spending spree, which led to the biggest peacetime non-crisis budget deficit in U.S. history, with the total deficit for fiscal 2023 ending just over $2 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. Can you count to $1 trillion? Can anyone you know count to $1 trillion? I forget who it is that says this, but they did the math. They said that if you count to $1 trillion, it'll take you like 31,000 years or something like that. If you count to $1 trillion 1 second at a time. You all remember when $1 million in your retirement account was the goal for everyone in America? Yeah, if you have $1 million, you'll be able to live out your retirement years with no problem. Not anymore. Well, why is that? It's because this financial system, ladies and gentlemen, just like we started the video with, is at the end of the line. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, you know I can't really talk about this, so I'll go ahead and leave the link to this article so you can come and revisit it at a later time. Even insured Americans cannot afford medical bills. Why is that? Because our money is no good. Plain and simple, that is why. We live in a phony monetary system that allows only that 1% to prosper where everyone else is stolen from. Millions of Americans are struggling under the crushing weight of rapidly rising healthcare costs that now force them to choose between putting food on the table or taking care of their health. Now listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, because this is incredible. Even with insurance, medical bills have become backbreaking as healthcare expenditures devour more than 17% of the U.S. GDP. That is amazing. Let me take out my calculator really quick. What is 17% of the GDP? I think, I haven't looked at this in a while, but I think that last year's gross domestic product was about 30 trillion, roughly, right? So let's multiply 30 trillion times 0.17. That means that out of the 30 trillion, ladies and gentlemen, that our GDP ran last year here in the United States of America, 5 or so trillion was just in healthcare. And that's just not very productive. Usually you want your GDP to be things that you're producing, manufacturing, not services and not healthcare, because that's not very productive for an economy. Incredible. And listen to this. It says that that's an increase of 4% from last year. That's incredible in itself. And for 2022, ladies and gentlemen, even though we were going through the health crisis and there were reduced services, the cost for that year was $4.5 trillion. And listen to this. By the year 2030, it's supposed to go up to $7 trillion. And out-of-pocket costs will also increase by an average of 4.6% annually, ladies and gentlemen, through 2030. Incredible. 4.6% annually. What year are we in? 24? So 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Let's just say 6. So by 2030, you're looking at about an extra 30 or 40% more than what we're paying now for healthcare. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't understand why some people call videos like this fear-mongering. This is just the news as reported by a whole bunch of different media outlets. I know that I usually have Zero Hedge up, but the reason that I have Zero Hedge, and I really like them, is because they pull stories from different outlets. It's not like they're the only ones telling the story from their view. It's from different outlets that they pull stories. So that's why I really like Zero Hedge. I also really like Natural News, and I like SHTF Plan for Mr. Michael Schneider, I believe is the one that runs that site. I just really hope that you're heeding the warnings of what's being put out there, and that you are preparing for the day that the event will occur. And people ask me, what do you mean by the event? It will be the event, ladies and gentlemen, meaning that it's going to be so great that we will remember it in 50 years if we're still here. But it will be written about in history books, because our rulers, ladies and gentlemen, the ones that want to keep us under their control, they need an event that is so big that people will be begging them to further enslave them, which is what they've been doing anyways. Having said that, I hope that you have a great rest of your weekend. I truly hope that you got something out of this. If you could, give this video a like and share it. YouTube still doesn't like me very much for whatever reason it is. Maybe it's because I like to tell the truth every once in a while during these videos. So I do appreciate you sharing them, ladies and gentlemen, and giving it a like. Another thing, ladies and gentlemen, is to live your life. Don't be engulfed in bad things all the time. Live your life, find something that you enjoy, do it, and just continue to prepare. Make preparing part of your life. Doesn't mean you have to do it all day, every day, but just stay up on it, fill in the gaps when you can, learn a new skill here or there. Right? Having said that, have a great rest of your weekend. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.